We began with those wildfires raging out west, putting one of the nation's premier nuclear labs at risk. In a moment, we'll get more on the real dangers posed by these wildfires from Dr. Michio Kaku. But let's begin with ABC's Ryan Owens, who's live at Los Alamos this morning for us. Good morning, Ryan.
Robin, good morning. This was actually a pretty good night for firefighters. The winds have died down, the humidity is up, but certainly the concern is not over. Behind me, you see all of that thick smoke. That is where some of the fire is burning this morning, and that is right above that nuclear lab. This is what happens when 12,000 people try to flee a city at once.
All right, good girl.
Los Alamos is empty this morning after a mandatory evacuation.
I've got pretty much everything packed up and just filling up the car.
But there is one thing no one here could take with them. This town is home to America's nuclear weapons lab. Los Alamos is where the first atomic bomb was built and where today's most dangerous weapons are made. The lab is massive, 36 square miles. The wildfire has come within 50 feet of its perimeter. And on Monday, one small fire was sparked on the lab's property.
Potential is high for a major calamity if the fire would reach these areas.
Officials insist the nuclear material here is secure and there's no danger to the public. Glenn Walp isn't so sure. He worked as a top security official at Los Alamos a decade ago and says some nuclear waste is stored just about 3 miles from where the fire is now.
It contains approximately 20,000 barrels of nuclear waste. It's not contained within a concrete brick and mortar type building, but rather in sort of a fabric type buildings that a fire could easily consume.
For people who live near this fire, it is a dangerous case of deja vu. The exact same area burned 11 years ago, including several structures at the lab. Lab officials say they learned from that and we are all safer for it. Nuclear watchdog groups are not so sure. Robin?
All right, Ryan, for more on the wildfires threatening that area, let's bring in physicist Dr. Michio Kaku. It's good to have you back with us for this. And we just heard in Ryan's report, and the nuclear waste being just behind some fabric barriers. What is the most dangerous right here? What's the most concern?
Well, the good news is that we no longer store our atomic bombs at Los Alamos like we used to, especially after World War II. However, the danger is that there are 20,000 to 30,000 barrels, 55-gallon drums, containing plutonium-contaminated waste. Everything from gloves to helmets to nuclear materials from the reactors. The danger is that a fire could split them open, release plutonium into the air. Plutonium is the most toxic chemical known to science. A microgram you can't even see in your lungs will cause lung cancer.
And to fight this, the dangers that the firefighters must be in to battle this, and the special training and equipment that they need?
That's the weak spot, because in 2009, the Department of Energy said that the local fire department, they may not be trained to handle the very specialized nuclear materials and equipment stored on site. That made a lot of people uneasy, realizing that our first line of defense, the firemen, may be overwhelmed when they enter a weapons laboratory.
And